going on, my friends? It's your boy, Dave Sharpe, in the captain's seat this morning for Wake Up Legendary. And if you are coming back, if you're returning, if you hang out with us every day, then welcome back. And if you're new here, then you are going to hear another incredible story from a regular student, nobody that was even interviewed before this interview. I've never talked to her. And that's exactly what happens every single morning is we have students and clients of legendary marketers who have gone through our training and who we ask to come on to the show based on us tracking some sort of a result that they have, and but really not knowing much about it, and inviting them onto the show and inviting them to talk about it. And so if you're new, there's over 500 of these interviews, or right at around 500, where we've done this every single day for the past couple of years, and we have no plans of stopping. So just, dig in, listen in, and really get ready for some amazing learning. And with that being said, help me welcome Leslie. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I feel completely honored to be here today. So,
hey man, it's really my honor, and I'm really thrilled that you're so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to talk to you about your business and what has happened in your journey so far. We've titled this today, "One video hit 7 million views, and it was far from perfect. Here's the scoop." Let's get into your story first, and then we'll talk about how you've melded this imperfection with these massive results. So tell us your legendary story. How did you find us? What were you looking for?
all right. Well, so back a little ways, growing up and stuff like that, in my 20s is when I got married to my kid's parent or dad, and I always was looking for little things there just to make extra money because I wanted to take my kids on vacations. So I got roped into all of the, going and doing the parties at houses and selling all these gadgets and stuff like that and trying to push towards family and friends. And none of those ever worked out for me ever. I'd make a tiny bit of money, but even though the investment was really small back then, I could never even recoup my investment. I just didn't have what it takes to cold call everybody and listen to all those no's constantly. Really got in my brain. And so it didn't work for me. So fast forwarding to about October of last year, I went through a divorce and ended up needing and finding myself in a situation where I was struggling to pay my bills again. So I started actually researching to make money online because thankfully I am blessed and I do get to work from home with my job that I currently have. So I was trying to find something else that I could do while I'm working that job, in between things, or just something to do on the side. And that's where, of course, like most everybody else, found Legendary on TikTok. Started liking people's videos that were talking about making money from home. And then, it changes your whole algorithm. So then you're just bombarded with it all. And I followed this girl. I don't even know who she is, but she amazed me. And
it's so funny how that happens, right? You right. Like one thing. It's like these algorithms are supposed to be so brilliant. You like one post and it's like that's all the content you ever get anymore.
That's what happened to all my funny pet videos. Like, what the hell? Exactly. I'm grateful it does it though now.
Yeah. Right. First, and as a marketer, we love it. As like an average user, we're like, geez, it's kind of like, just like, hey, I just said hi. I didn't want to marry you. You know
exactly.
What I mean? It's just, TikTok thinks that you want to marry that one topic because you like one thing. It's just funny. But God, thanks for pointing that out. That's really funny.
It's so true though, but I am so grateful for it now because I did end up clicking her link and stuff like that and actually following up and seeing what it was all about. I didn't purchase anything. I watched your video and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I'm like, well, it's like 2 a.m, time to go to sleep. So I just went to bed and forgot about it. A couple days later, I got more emails and follow-ups and stuff from her. And I was like, well, another one had a catchy hook. And so it made me read her email. And that's what actually made me start going through the 15-day challenge. And now we're here. So.
Wow. You gave us such a wonderful look into what like a buyer does, what they go through. And it can be our first most powerful lesson to just think back about what we did and what we experienced and what did we do. You just pointed out a couple of things. The power of just, first of all, being on social media so you can have a video that's in a topic, because just because they don't press your like on your video, now all of a sudden, if they press like on somebody else's video on the same topic, your video now becomes in the queue to go on that person's page. So you almost get that sort of that collateral benefit. You know what I mean? It's not
like free advertising. Almost.
It's like free advertising, how the algorithm works. So even though that's maybe annoying to a consumer, it's great for a marketer, isn't it?
Right.
Because yeah, that's amazing. The other thing that I really that really stuck out to me about what you just said was the way in which you didn't buy immediately. You didn't buy immediately, but you started receiving emails and you started receiving other messages. I would assume that was email. And because you weren't on a bunch of marketing lists already, right? It was just kind of this one person that was sending you messages, right?
Yep.
So we have to think about, and there's been a couple of marketers on our community lately that have been talking about email. We've had a couple of speakers talking about email lately. And the truth is that, man, that email follow-up really converted you, right?
Yep,
because you said you watched the entire sales video and then we're like, that was awesome. Now it's time to go to sleep because it's 2 a.m.
That's when we scroll. We're going to bed,
Right, you just didn't buy. You didn't buy. That's very normal behavior. If every person or the majority of people or most people or a large percentage of people bought on the first time that they we'd all be rich and business would be easy. But marketers who win are ones who have they have contingency plans. What does that mean? Well, I have to have a plan in case the person doesn't do what I want them to do. I'd love every person to come right to the sales video, watch the entire thing, and buy.
Right.
But wouldn't that be silly of me to expect that?
Yeah. Totally, and even if they do, they don't do anything with it. Like even the ones that do buy instantaneously, it sits there on day zero.
But that's not the point, because I've already made the money. So regardless of whether they use the product or not, that's not the point. And I'm not responsible for that. I really am not. I mean, as long as I put my best effort into delivering and doing what I said I was going to do, I'm not responsible if they did. But I'm responsible for all these pieces to get them to lead the horse to water or to convert into the product that I believe in.
Right.
And so that is where your follow-up pieces and these other pieces that we teach you to set up. We teach you to set these up, and these are the important parts of the business. And now I think this story really highlights the power of that, because right immediately, even in the 15-day challenge, we start talking about funnels and autoresponders and setting these pieces up. Why? Because for the past 10 plus years, it's been that same scenario that you just described, where somebody will come, watch a video or whatever, and then they'll go about their business. And the whole reason why sales funnels were so groundbreaking compared to websites is because a normal website, somebody just comes and visits, shops around, and leaves. Because people like to look at stuff and shop and be nosy and finger through everything on shelves, right? We go to stores and we finger through everything and then don't buy a damn thing. But sales funnel's different, because they come, there's one thing to do. And the very first thing I'm doing is collecting your email, because I already know that you're going to leave. So I want a way to follow up and get a hold of you. That's why sales funnels were groundbreaking versus websites, because suddenly we had a way to follow up with these people who came to our website, whereas just having the website, which is what everybody thought that we needed, was never good enough, because most people come and leave, and then we don't know who came, and we have no way to get a hold of them again. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely. It's 100% true. And I actually learned that the hard way, and I didn't, follow up with anybody at first. And so it's been an interesting challenge, but it's everything is there in the training, step by step. Like if you can't do it, go to the training and you'll figure it out, or research it. Everything can be found if you have the right question.
It can be found. And the next big challenge that we have is when we find somewhere to learn is actually settling down and learning instead of just signing up and then you're right, not going through the training. And then what do? We're forever ignorant. We're forever ignorant. We go to the next mentor, the next guru, the next coach, who of course wants to be our coach. He's hitting us up in Facebook Messenger saying, I'm here to be your mentor. Which is never the mentor you want to hire, the guy who wants to be your mentor. Okay. And by the way, just everybody, I'm not your mentor or your coach or your guru. I never hired a mentor to mentor me because that's a lie. No mentor is going to sit there and make you do it, help you do it for you. Right. Every single successful person that's come through Legendary did one thing that some people are unwilling to do. And that's went through the training, they bought and then applied what was in the training before they went on to their next savior or their next shiny object or their next guru, right? And just like you said, we have a challenge. It's a challenge to go through stuff. How did you? And that's weird, right? Because we buy something, we want to learn, we say, but then it's like, well, now the challenge is I actually gotta go through this. All the answers are there. All the solutions are there. It's all laid out. What's been your mindset and approach with the education and like learning and then applying? And we already know it's not been perfect. So we're not expecting perfection, but even if you've had to learn the hard way, which is, oh crap, maybe that is in the training, let me go back and look, or whatever. Describe that experience with us, what it's been like to essentially learn something new what are you in your, I'm almost 40. You look about the same as me.
Yeah, I'm 42. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a hard thing to learn a new thing. So describe what that process has been like. And despite that, we still are reminded that you're getting results.
Well, so like for me, I didn't have a lot of time because since I didn't have a lot of income, since I was newly single when I found this, I was trying to find any way to make money. So I signed up for DoorDash. So I literally I would do DoorDash in the morning. I work my job. I do DoorDash at night. So, and then I have a small little amount of time so I can actually get some sleep to learn this business. So my biggest thing was with your training is that at first you did the follow-up for us. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah, let's do that because I don't need to figure out anything else. I knew I needed to because of the training. So I went through the ClickFunnels, learned that. And ClickFunnels is super, super easy. But because of my situation, I didn't have the money after the 2-week trial to keep continuing paying for ClickFunnels, even though it is very, very, very worth the money you pay. But so I ended up going by researching, looking on the Legendary page, things like that. I learned of another website I could go to where I didn't have to pay really anything for that. So I just started building that. So I've literally just over the last few months have been trying to build my email follow-up campaigns and try and figure out how to write my story. I came from a poor family, but not necessarily a horrible family. So I don't really feel like I have a lot. I guess every single business I've ever tried, you always have that person who's had a hard time, like you. You went through a lot of struggle.
You realize as you're saying this is a limiting belief inside of you.
100%. And that's what you've made me realize, though, because in part of the blueprints package, you have this 30-minute motivational thing, and you always talk about how it's more your mindset than the technology side of it.
$1 million mindset audio.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I listened to that every single night for months. And now I've switched it up and I listen to it every single morning. No matter how many times I hear it, I hear something different that inspires me that, okay, remember, that's your limiting belief. Don't believe it, and I just push forward through it. And so I've been kind of learning better and being able to create my emails and stuff like that. And now with this most recent change, apps don't like what our links are right now. So I'm in TikTok jail right now.
Oh, so, I got you.
Yeah. And so, but you know what? you push through it, and all it did was lit a fire under my ass. I was up until like 3 a.m. last night. I've got my emails all done. I've got and sometimes you need that extra push. And so I am super grateful for it, because now I'm like at that point where I'm like, okay, yes, I'm finally where everybody is. And I feel like I can be more confident in what I'm learning, even though I've learned it all and I feel like I could talk about it. I wasn't doing it. I was having you do all of it for me. And so, which is great, but it's better to do it yourself.
I mean, well, exactly. And I mean, let's just point out right first and foremost that, I mean, this education and these principles apply no matter what offer you're promoting,
Yes.
and no matter what industry you would like to work within. And so
Mm-hmm.
many of our students turn around, work in the make money online niche or work in the online business niche. It sounds like you've made that decision too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, what we did in our affiliate program, we recently just yesterday made a massive update, and I hope everybody got that email and got that communication. I mean, essentially, we cut out the pro affiliate fee and made the entire program with affiliate benefits, but without that fee. And literally, just so everybody knows, crystal clear, there was not a major, like, there was not another money move that we made. We just cut out almost. I mean, there was, I don't know exactly, somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 a month in reoccurring revenue from that pro affiliate subscription that was coming into our business. No BS. I mean, just straight up cash in the bank every month. And we just, for us, I guess it was one of those moves of stepping, sometimes I feel like we step over dollars to pick up dimes. And that, I feel like, is a lot of times what we do in this industry as even as new marketers. I see some of our marketers in this community getting into, some of the people that I know, some of the people that I like, and some of the people that have had success are getting into promoting shisty and shoddy offers from people. And one of the reasons why we did that is to further set ourselves apart from all of these gimmicks. And when you look at legendary marketers sometimes, and you look at other opportunities or companies or education companies, sometimes they look the same, kind of like the way that like a Timex and a Rolex both tell time, but they're not the same thing. You see, they're very, very different. One you buy at Walmart, and one you buy for tens of thousands of dollars.
The quality is better.
Switzerland, and is going to last a really long time, and you can pass it on through generations. One is probably going to shit the bed in the next year and just stop working. And that's the same with a lot of these gimmicks out here. The people who, we've worked really hard to really become an education company who also has an affiliate opportunity. These other gimmicks out here that are just, they're here today, gone tomorrow. You've got to buy into them to be able to promote them and all this kind of stuff. It's called pay to play, and it can get you in legal trouble with the government. So all of you out there who are promoting these kind of things because you're following your mentor off a cliff, be careful. Be very careful. Be very careful, because you will lose your entire business, and we will be here to welcome you back and say, hey, dust yourself off and get yourself back up. But it'd be so much better if you could prevent that and stop stepping over dollars to pick up dimes. But we did that with our affiliate program in an effort to try to make it more compliant, more open, transparent, accessible, just eliminate the fee and focus on the education. And if you want to be an affiliate of Legendary, that's fine. And in your case, you were using the follow-ups that we were doing. And as of yesterday, we eliminated all those follow-ups. We eliminated all of the landing pages. Why did we do that? Because we don't want to be a done-for-you gimmick. We don't want to be a online millionaire machine or whatever these methods and all this other BS out there that tells you, oh, I'm going to do it all for you, or whatever the slimy lying pitch is. Here, I'd like to tell you, It's going to be some hard ass work. And oh, by the way, I even might make it harder at the beginning for you. And we didn't just make it harder, but I hope it is harder. I hope it is harder for every one of you, because it builds character and it develops who and what you need to be to succeed in this business. And the problem with most of us is we've jumped from gimmick to gimmick. And you don't have any experience on the internet, or I guess you have MLM experience, and you know how those gimmicky pitches go, where it's just it's the same 5 success stories. Everybody, like, you don't have the right mentor. You're not succeeding because I'm not your mentor. It's a toxic bunch of bullshit. And I see that happening in the community sometimes. And I really try to go in. We try to go in and eradicate it because it's cancerous, right? But what has it been like for you now to switch from sort of some of that more, pre-written or, copy and deploy type marketing or emails, to now creating your own and finding your own voice and using what we're teaching you and melding that with your own spin?
Well, to be honest, like exactly what you said, to kind of touch on what you said about whether it's an MLM or the gurus or whatever, when you go to like seminars or anything like that, you're hearing from people who are making millions and millions of dollars, and
or so they say, or so they say,
yes,
or so
exactly.
they say.
Like,
That's
we don't really
another
know.
thing. So they say they're making millions of dollars. But
because then you see some of them on the
I'm
outside,
sorry.
their lifestyle doesn't reflect that, but not everybody does. But yeah, so they say. But that was one of the things that when I first started going through this program that drew me to you were these interviews, because you were talking to people who are only making $5,000 a month. I mean, you would bring on great people who have been doing this for a couple of years and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars now, which you do your income disclaimer in a minute, but you talk to real people that are only making like $5,000 a month. And I'm like, I can relate to that. That doesn't seem like such a far out thing to me. And I would tell my family about it. I'm like, this company is so real. They talk to real people. And even though in my mind, because of my limiting belief and going through all those other things where you hear only of them talking to people who are making millions, when I got this invitation to come on the show, I'm like, I haven't done enough. Why do they want to talk to me? And my mom's like, that's why you got involved in this company, is because they talk to normal people like you. Like, that's why, like, you should be excited they're inviting you on, because it means you're doing something at least good. And I'm like, so, it's good I got a good support system, but it's true. Like, your program's just amazing. I can't say enough about it. I don't even know.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for that. I really appreciate it. And I don't take that lightly. And those compliments are still difficult for me to hear, because, all these things that are so important that we teach and talk about, self-esteem, self-care, all these things I've battled. And you don't think a guy, and I don't even, I want to touch on another thing here in a second, but you don't think somebody with, who's seen these depths doesn't have some self-esteem issues? I mean, come on, I have self-esteem issues. I have I have all the same things that everybody else that's human struggles with, that has been through anything in life. But I just wanted to jump back to this thing for a second about that you said a second ago, just because I feel compelled to go back and talk about it. And it was this, you said I don't have a story and I didn't really have a tough life. And wow, that is a huge limiting belief amongst those of you who feel like you had like a normal life, and all it is a lack of creativity on your part to look for an interesting story to tell. That's all it is, because mine is just an interesting story to tell. And you're right. I heard other people telling their down by the river stories. And so I was like, well, shit, I kind of got one of those too. And I started telling it, you know what I mean? But just because you hear me telling that, there's plenty of other marketers out in the marketplace who have succeeded at levels that are absolutely, that are beyond what I've done. I mean, you got my friend Russell Brunson. They're doing $100 million a year over there. I think roughly. I mean, we did 20 we did a fifth of that last year. You know what I mean? I mean, we're
Right.
big for what we do. We don't sell any software. We're the probably, but dude, Russell's a bad ass mother. He's a bad boy. He's a bad boy. Trust me, he's a bad boy. The boy knows how to market and sell, and he's a legend. And he doesn't have a down by the river story. He doesn't have, you know what he did? He took his initial marketing experience of creating an offer for a potato gun, and that's part of his story. You know what I mean? Like, and it has nothing to do with anything. Think about, just names. There's a lot of people who I can think of, whether it be Russell, whether it be, Tony Robbins. I've listened to a lot of his stuff, and he doesn't have a big down. I mean, he talks about growing up in somewhat poverty and somebody bringing him a turkey for a Christmas dinner because his family couldn't afford it. And his dad was too egoic to want to accept it, but it changed his life and it made him want to give. And that's why he does the Meals on Wheels or whatever it is, where he donates a meal. He donates a meal and he's now fed over 1 million people. See how he ties that story into what he's doing. So it was a story about him not getting fed, and he was hungry. His family was hungry. And so he ties that into why he does this service work, this nonprofit work, and donates a portion of his proceeds. So the question that we all have to ask ourselves is, if I'm talking about marketing, and that's what you're talking about, or you're talking about building a business online, just talk about what it was like. Your story is what happened when you got started online. The thing that you just told us right now, that at the beginning, how you had done MLMs, you had done all this crap, you had got recently divorced and now didn't have any money to pay your bills. And you needed something, and you had done MLM before, and you had sold lotions, potions, and pills and chased your friends and family. And oh, by the way, that wasn't happening during the last couple of years because we were all on lockdown. And so I was stuck at home, and I found something that I've been using that's changed my life. And I'd like to share it with you on the next page. You see how simple that is? We all way overcomplicate this and think that we've got, and that goes back to those limiting beliefs of just being involved in that MLM culture and lots of other toxic sales cultures that make us think that we have to lie, or we have to tell, that we have to embellish. And we don't ever have to do any of that to sell. The best thing that we need to sell is to be honest and direct and know how to mean what we say and say what we mean and not be mean when we say it. It has nothing to do with cute little angles, NLP, closing. All these closing assholes can take it all and shove it. None of it matters. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is, do I know how to have a conversation and make you feel seen? And most people think that we do that by talking at somebody. And the way that we do that is by interviewing people and learning about them and asking them questions and figuring out what they want. And that's how we also can control a conversation. And so but it's all about honesty. It's all about honesty. Well, I'm not making $1 million, but I've recently had some amazing breakthroughs and I'm well on my way. There's so many ways that you can word things. Again, going back, it's a lack of creativity. We just got to get more creative in how we communicate our lack of success, right? Because a lot of us say, I don't have success in this area yet to be able to market and be an affiliate to promote other. Why do you have to be an expert and a worldwide leading authority to make a recommendation? You're not even the expert as an affiliate. You're just actually saying, I have a testimonial and a success story about how this worked over here, and I'd like to tell you about it.
Yeah.
But we get too caught up in ourselves. And there's also something called let me share it with you, and you all can go and check it out and look it up on your own time, because it's actually something that's really interesting. It's called the liking gap, and it's a phenomenon where we underestimate how much we're really liked. And so it's a real true phenomenon. Where we underestimate how much we're liked, the liking gap. Look it
Yeah.
up. And so what do? We overcompensate by thinking that we need to be extra interesting or have this extra big whimsical story, because we don't realize that people like us a lot just for who we are. What comes up for you
Right.
as I say that?
It's so true because like you were saying, like needing to be the expert in the field. Like I know that is like my biggest thing that hinders me is because, well, I don't know if it not necessarily that it hinders me, but my biggest challenge is going live. And I worry so much about that I'm not going to be able to answer somebody's question, or people aren't going to like me, or this or that. And it's like, and so more recently, I've just been trying to get over that limiting belief too, and that worry. I've gone live twice, and it was scary, and I felt weird because you're just sitting there and you don't know. It's different when you go live and you're actually talking and having a conversation, but versus going live and you're just sitting there and you feel like you're talking to yourself. And so it's so true, like just that ability to get over that hurdle. And that, so that's what I told my kids that my goal is you're going to be my kickoff, and officially next week I'm going to be committed and start going live. So consistently, not every day, but at least once a week.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if this would work for you, because it worked really well for me, and it was visualization of visualizing myself crushing it doing something. Do you ever do that? Do you ever use any visualization techniques? And I'm not going to do any weird exercises with you right now and put you on the spot. Like I just wonder if you ever have done any visual or even what that means to you when I say like a visualization exercise.
A little bit, yeah. I always try and like whatever my goal is and wherever I'm trying to get to, I try to like imagine myself in that situation. But for me personally, sometimes I do that and then and it's great. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I can totally do that. But then there's other days I'm like doing it and I'm like, you can't do that. That's like so extreme. Like, why are you dreaming that high? And you just constantly, it's like an everyday battle on your mindset. Like, that's why it's so important to work on your mindset, and why that's the hardest thing, like to get over and to teach is your own mind. It's sad, but they just always are creeping up in there.
It is. And so I'd invite everyone to simplify, if you'd like to try it, simplify the visualization into nothing complicated or complex, but just simply when you're not live or you're not crushing it going live. And also, I said crushing it going live because how you speak about what you do determines how you're going to feel about it when you step up to it. Mm-hmm. And so we can actually speak things into existence. And it's real important how we describe ourselves, and it's real important how we describe, the things that we're going to do, and even the things that we have done. And so that's why I say, when you crush it, when you go live, because there's no doubt that you will, if that's what you envision that you're going to do, and that's the plan that you have, and then you go there and you just do what you've already practiced doing. Well, what do you mean practice? Well, that's the visualization. And the only thing that it requires is a little bit of self-awareness, because what's going to happen is we're going to think about going live, and that's going to be the example. We're thinking about going live. That's what we want to visualize. Well, what's going to happen is I'm going to constantly have that train of thought go where it is wired to normally go, which is train wreck, crisis, failure, flounder, panic, that's where that pathway in your brain is used to going. It's sort of like giving like it's like there's a train track between here and the other side of your yard. And just whenever you think about going live, it's like you put that thought into that little train cart and you just push it and it just goes to the same place every time. That's the track. The track is it goes to crisis and meltdown and panic and all this kind of stuff. And so what we have to do is we have to build a new track. but we have to be aware that this track exists. That track exists. And every time I put that little thought about going live, that I put and I get that thought going, the track is it's going to end up over there in crisis. That's the track I've built in my brain.
It's the easier track because our brain's trained that way.
The brain's trained that way. So what I need to do is I need to be aware that the track is there. That's the big thing. That's why I said self-awareness is the big deal. And now when I begin to visualize it, and that I come up to, because it always starts the same way, but it's where it gets into something goes wrong or I freeze up or whatever. I start panic at that moment in the story in my head as I'm playing it out. I need to be aware that that's going to happen, and I need to talk myself through that. I can't ignore that. I can't act like that doesn't exist. I can't be like, okay, I'm going to pray myself through this, or I'm going to wish myself. I have to act. I have to put my will in the situation. And I have to say, that's not what I'm doing this time. And I have to actively coach myself to visualize and if I have to stand up, sometimes it's about my body language, right? Sometimes if I'm not in a powerful place, like I feel like I'm sitting in a place where I'm vulnerable, or sometimes I got to stand up, and sometimes I got to walk around to visualize this, move a muscle, change a thought. This is something that I learned when I was detoxing, 14 years ago from opiates and so forth. Move a muscle, change a thought. It was the same kind of thing. My brain was used to sending those signals of pain when it felt. It was a muscle memory type thing. And so now that's simple. Where's the secret, Dave? Where's the trick? It's not a trick. It's called there's two people in this life. There's people who are aware of who they are and what they're doing, and there's people who are unaware. They call it ignorance is bliss, right? And so this self-awareness and I got to coach myself through. And now within a day or two or three, I'm starting to visualize more empowering things. I'm starting to visualize myself sitting at the desk and actually delivering. And you're visualizing what you're wearing, specifics, what you're wearing, but mostly body language, That's what you want to visualize, not so much your words, because you're never going to remember. Get your body language and your physiology in a empowering place. If you feel empowered and powerful in your body as you speak, then your body language is going to help you to be less afraid. And so when you're visualizing, visualize how do you want to come across? And it's sort of like when I visualize myself, I'm visualizing myself as if I'm watching myself from a distance, and I'm watching myself perform, and I'm watching, right? Because it really truly is this is it's an exchange of energy. I got to somehow get my message across to you. You're on a screen. I can't.
Right.
So the more I can get this energy out, and the more I can use my body language and tonality and things like that, the better, because people are going to remember how they felt listening to you, less than they're going to remember what you said. So anyways, I hope that was helpful, the visualization piece. But so many folks are want to go live, but are feel that awkwardness of sort of like the public speaking fear. And then you also don't have people speaking back. So also it can be so helpful to be prepared with some bullet points and just a couple of things. And last but not least, my last tip for going live is props. Whiteboards. Or put the dang thing on your computer, but stop making it all about you and your face.
You talk about the green screens a lot, so I've been learning a little bit more about that and how those work for live. So that's cool.
Well, the green screen on TikTok is really
Mhm.
cool actually because
Yeah.
you can put up things on your background if you can get
Mhm.
skillful with that. But I got to be honest, I and I always am for over 10 years, I have used the simplest props and it's always been the most powerful. The
Right.
whiteboards or even a piece of paper, jotting it down, holding it up, but sometimes we try to use the apps and we try to use all the fancy stuff and get ready to get ready. And one day I'm going to do that. And I got to learn and all this. And you know what? Every single one of us knows how to hold up a whiteboard and you
Mhm.
know what? You know what it is? It's interesting when you're watching somebody who's solo delivering a message when they have something there that you can also look at like a whiteboard and it's also something you can interact with. How does that
Right.
feel?
It's true because there are like I've watched quite a few different people's live videos, and there's some that just sit here like this and they're close to the screen and they're just constantly reading questions, and it's very informative, but it's boring. It's
Mm.
nothing like it's exciting. So you listen and you're like, okay, I got a tip there, but then you kind of move on. But then versus other lives I've watched to try and get some clarity and stuff like that, like yeah, the ones who've got props or they're holding up paper that talks about certain things, or they do have a whiteboard or a green screen or that they're pointing to, it just makes you engage more, even though you're not
Yeah.
physically talking to them in person or anything. It makes you engage more and it makes you remember them more than the next person. So it's true.
And you know what? PowerPoint, 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 or
Mhm.
Keynote, depending on what sort of computer you're on. I have used Keynote, which is the slide PowerPoint program for
Mhm.
Mac, for my entire career to sell tens of millions of dollars worth of affiliate and my own courses. And it's never been the only other sort of graphics or props that it's not really a prop but would be some sort of motion graphics like you see in our video sales letter, our 15-day challenge video sales
Mhm.
letter. We use some motion graphics and we do have a video editor who's really good at motion, but the majority of all of any training or even the webinars that are longer form where I'm selling something or or maybe offering some sort of opportunity at the end are all just simple keynotes. Where if I was ever on a PC, it'd be or a simple, if I was on a PC, it'd be a what? PowerPoint. And
Yeah.
so, that's a simple program that any of us can use can learn how to use, and quite frankly a lot of you already do know how to use it because you you you've and I'm going to pull you up an example. That's what I'm getting right now. But because you've likely learned about it, or used it in the past,
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form, you've used Keynote. And so let me show you here real quick. So that was the $1 million mindset audio experience that you were talking about earlier. And this Keynote is the business plan class where I introduce the blueprints and help people also develop their business plan. But as you can see, you know, this when I click play and if I was recording this on my computer right now, this is what you would see. And if I click through, you would of course, you would see all of the other slides here, right? That I have for this particular presentation. But my point is that it's fairly easy to make this. I mean, this is a picture. It's just a picture, right? This little headphones right here is just a shape that came out of Keynote, right? Okay, it's just a headphones. Okay, I can make that any color I want. Every single thing here, all these images. If I didn't like, some of these images are our own images, or this is screenshots of. So I always use my own images. But if I have to buy an image, I'll go over to istockphoto.com and I'll buy an image. So I make sure that we own the rights to it. But my point here is that this is a prop. This is also a prop that I can use if I'm going live to, turn my camera around and point it at something that I've prepared for that particular live. How's that feel? Does that make sense to you? Um,
Yeah,
isn't it amazing how simple these things can be to
it
kind of
is. And you just proved a point to the fact of the people who are afraid to show their face. You can go live without even showing your face, and still provide just as much value as somebody who does. So I like that because I get a lot of questions about that. Like, can I do digital marketing even without showing my face? Because everybody I see is showing their face. And so you just clarified that even more so for those people that are worried about that is there's not anything you can do in this business. That's not your choice. You can go either which way. You can show your face. You don't have to show your face. It doesn't matter. You can make mistakes and have things go viral. It doesn't matter. Like everything, you just got to do it. You just got to be putting out content and staying consistent. And that's the biggest thing is just doing it. And I've been trying to get myself to understand that. And so that's what I'm doing now.
It's fine. You know what? No, it's fine because you always have to be talking to yourself first as you're giving advice or wisdom to others. And it's also really humble and respectful to do that, right? Because we all know that we all are human and we all have, nobody ever arrives. Those of us who work really hard on ourselves know that. So we know that we never arrive. So it's a beautiful learning process and we're all always going to be in it. I wanted to talk about your little imperfect viral video that went, you have 167,000 followers on that TikTok. I know you said it was shadow banned, you thought right now, but besides the point, here's the key about that. I don't care if, at the end of the day, let me rephrase that. I care a lot if somebody comes and takes anything from me, like say a Facebook came and said, you guys, this whole Facebook page right here is just gone. We don't like what you're doing, or that guy, we don't like his beard, or the fact that he wears the same shirt every day and never takes a shower, or whatever their gripe is. But I do take a shower at least once a week. I just want to say that. But I do care, but at the end of the day, what I care most about is the skills that I have to be able to build another one. And it does seem like you're at least in that mindset with whatever happens out there. But tell us about what happened on TikTok, and tell us about this viral experience, and tell us about how imperfect it was, and tell us about anything else that would be valuable to learn about the experience.
So when I talk about how I'm in TikTok jail, it's just because they're not letting me have my link on there right now because they're mad at me. So that's why I say that. Not that I'm shadow banned per se, but I just don't have a link for 24 hours. So I'm like, that drives me crazy. But you do have to roll with the punches. And so I've learned that from you guys from the very beginning.
They've slapped your hand. They've said no link for 24. No making money for 24 hours.
Exactly.
That's messed up too. It's like,
it's their way of having control a little bit. It's fine. But I have learned because of listening to you guys. So I do have another TikTok that I've been building because I wanted to show people you can still build it without showing your face. So I have another one. I don't really do much with it, but I've just got it just in case. So it is over 1,000 followers to where I can post a link if I had to jump on there and start changing if mine ever got banned. But I just basically, I do what you guys teach, and I was going and seeing what other people's videos were that were going viral and trying to get examples. And I found some guy's TikTok that had like over 2 million views. And he's just talking about a side hustle where you're selling your crap. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. I'm just going to do it because it's funny. Well, I didn't really watch his whole video all the way through and realize that he skipped a screen. And I went through all the screens when I was showing him. So the only reason why it's gotten so many views is because I included the screen that said that they're not accepting any more donations unless you live in Boston. So everybody in the world had to tell me that it's only available in Boston. And I showed the screen that said that's not accepting donations and all that stuff. So whatever, it's at over 8 million views now and has brought in a lot of commissions because it made all my other videos go viral. And so all of them, not necessarily go viral, but it increased all of their views. And so I started actually getting a lot of results from it, a lot of leads, and leads are results because they're being followed up on. So people don't understand how important a lead is. They're so focused on the commission side of it that if they're not getting a commission, they think they're not having success. But when I got 1,000 leads in a day, but no commissions, I was stoked. I was like, hell yeah. Like, I don't even care because one of those are going to convert, And it has. It's converted into high ticket sales. It's converted into all the small sales. Like, it's been amazing. And so even though you make a mistake, it's fine. Like, just push through it. And you get told a lot, like, oh, somebody else did this video before you, but they're talking about some other girl. And so I just respond back and I said, I didn't find this on a girl's page, but I'm sure she found it the same way I did. So, it's fine. Like,
People are so, and you know what? It all, like, what's beautiful about this, and again, it's all in how I choose to look at it, right? So I
yeah.
can choose to look at it. Watch this. This is why I love life. I'm in love with life because I actually feel empowered because I realize that everything has been built and created by somebody, and I can come and I can build and create right alongside of anybody and the best of them. If I believe that I can do that, it's all here, right? And so when I hear this, what gets me really excited is the fact that, like, I don't even really need to know what I'm doing for the most part.
Right.
I can get started in essentially we're doing a lot of the same things that other people are already doing out in society with the trends and various different trending videos that people are doing. And look, people are already doing this. Everybody acts like, oh, in this niche or that niche or on TikTok, they're just doing a lot of no, the whole world's copying
Yeah.
everybody else on social media with the dances and the chat and the ice bucket and this and that. And do you remember the one where they were climbing the milk crates a few months back
Yeah.
and everybody was falling off, busting their ass? The world, that's what we do as humans. And so the other thing that I was thinking about was 1,000 leads in a day. Do you know how incredible that is for a new marketer to have the
Right.
ability, any ability, whether it was luck or not? And you might call that a little luck, but I'd call that you set yourself up for that opportunity. You
Right.
prepared and you did the work. Sure, you got a little lucky, but luck was preparation meeting that opportunity. And that 1,000 leads in one day is something that is so rare and proves to me that the marketplace just keeps getting more and more opportunity.
Right.
In my 10 years of doing this, 90% of that time, a new or newer affiliate marketer getting 1,000 leads in a day, impossible and unheard
Oh,
of.
yeah.
Totally. Think about back to your MLM days and all that, and think about what if you crack the code and you had discovered some way to generate 1,000 leads it would have changed the game. But you and I were
Yeah.
running around town, throwing magnets on the side of our cars and putting signs and standing up in front of our friends and family trying to convince them. I was stuffing McDonald's
Yep.
cheeseburgers and pantyhose trying to describe what this was doing to your body and why you needed to buy this health supplement over here. I mean, that's what I was doing. I've been there, girl. I've been there.
Yeah. Or then you're trying to find people on your team and you're just trying to get a list of 30 people of somebody else's to now go and talk to about it versus posting a video and you get hundreds or thousands. It's like, it's amazing the technology nowadays. It makes life so much easier.
Well, you can actually build an MLM with these skills too.
Oh, yeah. I follow people who do now. It's crazy.
These skills are transferable to the MLM niche. And if you currently have a MLM, these skills also apply to any business or niche. If you're in car sales, if you're an insurance agent, if you're a doctor, lawyer, I mean, all of it, these exact strategies, you go through the challenge, everything in the blueprints, even in the affiliate marketing business blueprint will apply, because it's unbelievable how just creating content, driving leads, and then following up with those leads in an automatic, systematic way can make you wildly successful when before you were pulling your hair out chasing people around town. You know what I mean? It's just it makes you realize that you're not the problem. You know what I mean? Like you are, in the sense that you need the grit and the perseverance, but you're not in the term. If you keep running into a brick wall, it doesn't matter if you go another mile per hour faster, you're just going to hurt your head that much more.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What else can we learn from you, or should we hear about your story or what you've done that would be helpful to us today, or that you would like us to know?
I guess I'd probably just like to leave people with the fact of just listen to the training. You literally do lay it out there, and just stay consistent. I've had people reach out to me recently who's like, I've been posting on TikTok or whatever social media platform for over 2 months and haven't seen commissions. And I'm like, it took me almost 2 months to get a commission. And they're like, but everybody's posting that, they did it in 2 weeks or that. And it's like, don't compare yourself to other people's journeys.
Yes.
Just post and just keep posting. Like, it took me a little while before I even started getting high ticket sales. Like, I had to put that out of my mind. I'm like, oh, I'm watching this person over here who's made $30,000 in a month. This person over here has made $200,000 since they started. This person's made $2,000 in the past 6 months. Like, it just depends on your own individual journey and how much effort you put into it. I feel like for myself, for what I've been able to put into, I feel like I've done a good at at least staying consistent, 3 to 4 videos a day and doing it consistently nonstop. But the biggest thing is just remembering that there's always more you can do. And so that's kind of where I'm at now is, if I'm not happy with my results, what can I do to make myself happy? And that's really what you got to look at, is what you can do to achieve the next step that you want. And for me, that's going live. So that's my next journey. And that's pretty much all I can really tell people, is just be consistent. It will come. Just be patient.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. And I love your story, and I love the journey. I love that I love everything about what you described today, from the the mindset stuff all the way to how you're approaching, just how you're approaching taking things into your own hands and sort of cutting the umbilical cord, if you will, from some of the more done for you stuff, right? And that's when you really start to become an entrepreneur and not just a business opportunity seeker. Right. There's a big difference. I mean, and if you really want a terminology to remember, I'm not calling anyone this, but I've never wanted to be a biz op junkie, right? Like that guy who's jumping from thing to thing, and you come back and you check me out in 2 or 3 months and I've got a new mentor and a new this and a new opportunity and a new shiny thing. And it's like, look, I mean, there's a lot of power in sticking with things and seeing your story through and actually creating a success story, and then going on to continue to help people and use your platform as a way to tell the truth and empower people. And man, it's just there's so much opportunity right now. And when I hear these stories every day, I just get really pumped up. One last question is, did you say you were a parent, a mom? And did you say you were a mom?
I have 2 kids. Well, they're adults, though. My son's 22 and my daughter's 19. So
I just wondered how you felt. I mean, doing something that was previously mostly known or understood as being like something that only teenagers did. I just wondered if you were getting any unique attention from any young people, including your own children, for what you're doing.
It's interesting. My son's 22 and he's very into computers and technology and stuff like that. So thankfully, because of him, when I wanted to invest in myself and I learned about this company, I really didn't have the funds. I had some, but not enough given my situation. And my son actually is the one who helped me pay to invest in myself. So always be grateful for that, because he understands affiliate marketing, because that's how he buys all of his computer stuff, is through affiliates. So that was really touching. Yeah. And then my daughter, she sends me videos all the time of her friends, like her friends texting her or Snapchatting her saying, not me at 2 a.m. and your mom pops up on my For You page. So they've both been very supportive, and I just love them. They're so amazing.
I love that. Wow. Yeah. Let's end on that. That was great. Really, really cool. You never know what's going to happen. We never know what's going to happen. And that's why I love watching people who are living life legendary. All right. So Leslie, thanks. Come back and see us. Like, really enjoyed chatting with you. And please come back for a second time if you will. And I'd love to catch up again.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
See ya. All right, my friends. Wow. Really, really, really cool. I know, Christina. Really, really special and cool. And I love, love, love each and every little story that comes out from these conversations and from each one of your journeys. Yesterday, I was sitting across. My wife and I had the special honor of helping a friend out do something very special. Anyways, I got to sit and listen to a lady. She was 82, 83 years old. And she was just telling stories, and it made my morning. I wasn't here on Wake Up Legendary yesterday morning. I was out, had my morning off. Matt was taking over, and yeah, I was hanging out with my wife and her friend, and we were out. We were out doing something, and yeah, we were around some other people, and I got to hear some cool stories. And isn't it just so cool how when we come and we share with a bunch of people who appreciate and celebrate, the journey that we're on and what we're doing, it's like the coolest, most inspiring thing. Obviously, if we are trying to, share our emotional treasure with people who are a dry well, then surely we're not going to get a lot of feedback. But man, when I just think this is so cool, because what I know about all the stories that I've heard, and I know about all the stories that I'm going to hear, is each one of them has a special magic to it. And that was what I want to leave today. And I see Leslie still on, and I'm speaking to everybody, is that your story is magic, and your journey is magic, and what you're doing is magic. It's magic. And stop underestimating it, and stop overlooking all the beautiful ways in which you can take what you're doing and creatively share it, and become a person of education and entertainment right out there, without doing too much, just simply sharing and being creative with your story. You want to make a point. What kind of story can I tell that helps me make that point? That's it. That's all it is. But each one of you has a special magic. And here's what I've learned after multiple years of doing this show, is that every one of us underestimates our magic. Every one of us underestimates how powerful and creative we can be if we just stop being so afraid. If we stop being so afraid. And as my sailor friend, okay, that I've shared a couple of days this week, he said, it's a guy that I'm watching, is a sailing YouTube channel. I can't remember what his name is, Eric something, but he was going into a massive sea, and he said, fear is simply the lack of knowledge. And I believe that. And if we're afraid of going live, it's simply that we don't have the experience and the knowledge to know what it's like. And we haven't, but once we get there, we know what it's like. We're not afraid anymore. Now we know what we got to work on to make it better. And it's just taking that each step, there's going to be another thing that you're afraid of. And so it's just about walking through and appreciating the magic of every moment, and the magic that is this, what we're doing right now, sharing our message with people all over. It's magic. Your story's magic. Don't underestimate it. Be legendary. We'll see you back here tomorrow for another episode. Peace.